What is your name?
Bridget Kavanaugh,
Where are you from?
Berkeley, Michigan.
What type of community service have you participated in?
In volunteer committees for schools and mental health agencies and United Way and working with the city of Detroit.
What role do you think volunteer work plays in building a community?
It takes a bunch of different people from government and business, and the most important is the community getting together to make sure that things are better where business and money can't support it and government can't fund it.
How did you find your way to this organization or volunteer work?
Which one? For the schools, I chose that one because of for all of them, I chose them because of my passions and where I think that I could make a difference in making my community and my world better. And that, most importantly, for that of my children.
Can you explain the purpose of this organization or volunteer work?
I'll choose one. So, one organization that I worked with was the city of Detroit. No, I'm going to pick a different one. The one organization that I chose to work with for a long time was Common Ground Sanctuary. And what was the question?
Can you explain the purpose?
The purpose of Common Ground Sanctuary is to help people in crisis. And they have a special group that works just with teens and families who have a need because they are either facing abusive situations or runaways or drugs or any number of issues. Most of them go back to mental health.
Can you tell me about the specifics of what you do during this volunteer work?
Well, I sit on their communications committee, so I help them to figure out how best to work with donors and the media and help them to improve funding and help them to improve name recognition so that people can understand what they do and then choose to either volunteer or give money or get, the most important thing is trying to get help for people who need help right away.
What drew you to this volunteer work?
When I was a teenager, I was struggling with some problems that seemed big, and actually after I ended up calling their helpline for some insight, and it wasn't as big as I thought. And so I only had a 2-minute phone conversation, but that stayed with me because the volunteer on the other end of the line was so helpful. And then I was asked to participate on that committee after I was established in my career, and so people knew that I could help them, and so I went back to my personal experience and then saw what a great need there was for help on the communication side.
What would you like to change about this volunteer work or organization if you could?
I think I would have, they do a really great job of recognizing their volunteers, but I think I would have better orientation so that people could understand fully what the organization does. So it's not just a helpline, it's not just a homeless shelter, it's not just a on the street crisis management. It's such a huge outreach that they do for teens and families and people in crisis that I think it would be helpful for the volunteers to understand how big it is of what their small part is in a huge organization.
What lessons have you learned from your volunteer experience?
I have learned that everybody that is there because they want to be. Every volunteer that's there wants to be there, and so they all have an important voice. So I've learned how to listen to other people's opinions very well and to understand where sometimes you have to separate a personal experience for some individuals because they're so passionate about it to keep an eye on the big picture.
How important do you think it is for people to volunteer their time within their communities, and why?
It's hugely important because, as I said in the beginning, government and business can't fix things alone, and so when people volunteer their time, They can act on their, they can give support where support is needed, and they can act on some of their passions. So for some people, they might be at a job that they don't love, but they can volunteer their time doing things that they love doing, and it shows either if they're volunteer coaching, or if they're volunteering with crisis lines, or they're helping to feed the hungry, or whatever it is that they're doing, neighborhood cleanups, whatever it is. It keeps you grounded in what's important in the world.
What would you say to a young person who is contemplating the exploration of community service?
Oh, I'd say definitely do it. Definitely do it, and pick something that you want to do and you'd like to try. It could be something local, like cleaning up a park, or going down to the river and listening for wildlife to help with conservation efforts. Or it could be doing something as big and grandiose as going to a foreign country and helping after a crisis like a flood, or a hurricane, or an earthquake. But do something where your heart is, and the rest of it will come.
Okay, thank you for your time.
Thank you.